It's all right. We're live now. Aldo, will you tweet the link?
Mm-hmm.
I think we had 5 viewers last time.
Solid.
Oh, I can't believe we even had 5.
We're at 5.
I don't know why Chris keeps wanting me to put the videos in the Google Drive.
Just in case. All right, we reckon. By the way, do you guys see that Chance the Rapper bought the Chicagoist?
Yep. And he told us sometimes basically to F off in a song.
I'm surprised it wasn't the Tribune. I mean, isn't the Tribune anymore?
Why did he do that?
Because Mary Mitchell for the Sun Times is the one that came after him about his child support.
I mean, that's the game, Chance.
He gets it. He watches Succession on HBO.
I don't know what that means.
I don't know what that is.
Oh,
That's an awesome, relatable reference there, Nuke.
I feel old now, Nuke, and I'm younger.
Watch it. Watch it.
Yes, sir.
Aldo.
This is all in the show right now.
You know what? I might just interrupt you the whole night, Zoe. How do you feel about that?
Wouldn't be anything new, bud. Ah, gotcha.
What?
You burnt.
You suspect.
You suspect.
Aldo, where's that live link?
It's in the chat. Just scroll up.
No, I want to. Are you going to tweet
you tweeted it out.
Oh, I'm doing that right now.
Yeah.
We are
live.
So I'm going to quote tweet the schnit out of that shit.
Get it. You guys like how I put the picture of the stats on the screen?
Gotta let them know.
If you
There's
don't
a
think
lot of kumbaya going on there.
If you don't think I read every single review, you got another thing coming, people. I read them. I take them to heart.
Should we ask for participation today?
You can. I don't know if you're gonna get it, but you sure can ask for it.
Is like the weather nice up where you guys are at?
In Chicago, it's gorgeous, but it's gonna rain for 3 days straight now.
Yeah, it was humid as all get out here for a little while, but it's been beautiful.
Do you want me to take pictures of the rain and send it to you all though? Because
dude, I had 2 trees come down in front of my apartment last week.
Oh, why?
I mean, I'm pretty sure they weren't like the roots weren't in deep, so they just like popped.
Yeah, it's funny. Nothing grows in the desert, but in Phoenix, there's lots of green grass and trees. And oh, there you go.
Pretty
good mugs, though.
Pretty golf courses.
Tweet that one. Oh yeah, those golf courses are nice.
I need a vacation. All right, we are live.
By the way, tornadoes ripping through the Midwest right now.
Yep.
Just to put things in perspective.
I'll fight them. All of them. All right.
Tornadoes?
Yes.
All right, go.
All right. And that was a little behind the curtains. Yeah. Yeah, we're all really this dumb. Okay, so
speak for yourself.
Ready. In 3, 2. What's going on, everybody? It is Friday, July 20th, and you have found the Pinwheels and Ivy podcast. I am your host, Matt Zawoski. They call me Zoe. And with me, as always, Mr. Aldo Soto. What's up, Aldo?
Howdy.
Ooh, are you a cowboy now that you live in the Southwest?
Yep. So, see, you got to admit it. Southwest, not West Coast.
Got it right. Well, it's more West Coast. From Chicago, it's the West Coast. And on the other coast, Matt and Nuko, they call him Nuke. What's going on, Nuke?
Hey, I'm in a little bit of a streak. I haven't showered again today.
Oh, congratulations, bud. Sorry, Mrs. Nuke. We got a great show for you. It is the All-Star Break show. This is going to be a really fun show because shout out to Cubs and White Sox Twitter for giving us a lot of material this week. We're going to talk about the home run derby and the hardos that are pissed off about the results. We're also going to talk about the Cubs fans that are trying to convince themselves that they don't want Bryce Harper. We're rapidly approaching the MLB trade deadline, so we're going to talk about some very disheartening trades that might happen. as well as where the Cubs should go, starters, bullpen. We're going to talk about it. We have a great stat of the week, courtesy of Mr. Nuke. And then we're going to talk about our weekly pickle, which why wouldn't the Chicago Baseball Podcast talk about Mike Trout for the 4th consecutive week? So we're going to talk about that. Then we're going to wrap it up with our last bets that you are not going to want to miss because it is a very interesting story about future White Sox Mike Trout. So all that being said, we have a great show for you. Let's dive right in. Let's tap this keg. Now, before we get into the home run derby and start with our rundown, want to remind everybody that we currently have a fantastic contest going on right now. You watched him in the All-Star game. He is arguably the best player on the South Side. Man of many nicknames. Pito, all of them. Love him.
Elefante.
Elefante.
Mr.
Elefante needs more play.
I think it does too. I agree. I definitely agree. It rolls off the tongue better. I don't sound as Caucasian when I say it.
There isn't a name I would rather hear Rick Renteria say than Pito.
Pito. But I do like Elefante. So what we're getting at is we're giving away a Jose Abreu autograph bat. We have a picture of him signing the bat, a certificate of authenticity. Basically, this is definitely the real deal. It'll look good in your man cave, your garage, wherever. Just, I don't know, don't pull a Sandlot and use it to play baseball. But we're giving it away. All you have to do is subscribe to this podcast, review it, and rate it. And in the review, make sure you use the word walk-off. Walk-off is still the phrase that pays, the magical word. So you're going to want to use walk-off in the reviews. If you are a Google Play listener, go buy an iPhone. If that's not on the agenda, use Google Play, take a screenshot of your subscription, and DM us the word walk-off for your entry because apparently you can't leave reviews, which is still strange to me. So, yes, Jose Abreu, autograph bat. Got all the bells and whistles. We're going to pull the winner next week's show. Sure.
And if you do want to pull a Sandlot, use the bat, and then you could wind up with something better. Because if they got didn't they get a Yankees 1927?
Oh yeah, what's his face? The guy with Darth Vader voice came through with a autographed Yankees baseball.
So who knows? Maybe down the line you could get a signed bat by the 2016 Cubs. So.
Darth Vader?
Yeah, he did the voice for Darth Vader.
Oh my gosh, it's Terrence Mann.
What?
It's not?
From Field of Dreams?
No. We're talking about Sandlot,
dude.
Oh
gosh.
You have derailed. I have no idea what the hell you're talking about.
Terrence Mann from Field of Dreams. He plays the blind guy. What's his name?
Yeah, we were just talking about the actor's name or the actor though.
Yeah.
Not the character himself.
Not the character, the actor. Figure it out, man.
So much for that introduction.
Jesus. Enter the contest.
Free bet.
Damn it, Nuke.
We are not giving away a 1927 team signed Yankees baseball.
That is a very good.
That is a 2016 Cubs World Series signed.
Wolf. I'd feed that to bees.
You serious, Clark?
No. But you never know.
So, subscribe, rate, review, or take a screenshot of subscription and DM us the word walk off. And also, side note, we have been getting a lot of reviews from this contest. We do read them all. We really appreciate it. Good or bad, any feedback is welcome. It's how we're going to get better, even though we do prefer the good ones. But we do appreciate criticism. That's how we are going to get better. We do listen to you. So we appreciate that. Thank you all.
We're rating your reviews too. So
honest and constructive.
Yes, we are rating your reviews. So we're rating the people that are
reviewing us, and we're rating your review. So
this is a complete alpha move, and we will rate your ratings. It's got to be your bull. Anyways, let's get into it. Let's actually talk about baseball. So
speaking of Jose Abreu, do you know who's better? Kyle Schwarber.
Okay.
Oh,
all right.
Here we go.
Way to go. Aldo burnt some high school kid on Twitter, and he's doing a victory lap about it. Yeah. Anyways.
Don't call a really good player overrated. That's all I'm saying.
I told him not to bring that shit to you. Not in July. Not when there's nothing else going on. Do not bring that weak shit. Although you will get straight matumboed in front of everyone.
Going out on my business, and just saw that on the timeline.
I knew you were up to something when you messaged me and Nuke real quick. You're like, well, Brady's the best player on the White Sox, right? We're like, yeah, why? And you're like, hold on.
I had it all written out. I just that conference. Like, it's definitely a Brady, right? It's not like
yes. All right, so the home run derby, which is pretty hit or miss in my book. It's either going to be entertaining or it's just going to be boring as shit. Usually it's entertaining.
I think since they changed the format, I think it's been pretty good every year.
Big fan of the time format. Way better than the 10 out. 10 outs dragged.
I remember there was like 2015. It was Todd Frazier in Cincinnati. That was like down the last second. Aaron Judge and Stanton going crazy.
Buzzer beater home runs are fun. Nuke, even your old man get off my lawn ass has to admit the buzzer beater, Kyle Schwarber hitting that home run as time went off the clock and doing that walk-off celebration, that's fun to watch.
Bryce Harper?
No,
now also fun.
Also fun. Victorious, but that brings us to the big home run derby controversy, which is a sentence I never thought I'd say, and I say a lot of stupid shit, and I never thought I would say that sentence. But
we're getting a little loosey goosey with the language. I like it.
For those of you that didn't pay attention or took a vacation during the All-Star break, good for you. Kyle Schwarber went up against Bryce Harper in the finals, and it was awesome. It was super fun. Both guys just hitting bomb after bomb after bomb. Harper ended up winning, but Cubs Twitter, I shouldn't say Cubs Twitter,
part of Cubs Twitter.
Yeah, part of Cubs Twitter. I don't want to generalize. Part of Cubs Twitter, they bitched and they cried because the rule is you can't pitch the ball until the previous home run or hit ball lands. And people were taking still frame shots of Bryce Harper's dad releasing the ball before his previous home run landed. Therefore, technically he broke the rules. I mean, this got so far as to some guy started a change.org petition to make Kyle Schwarber the official. I mean, it's not a big deal. You don't get anything except it's just stupid. I don't know.
Well, first of all,
did anyone drug test his father?
Oh, did you guys see like the before and after when Bryce Harper won like the home run derby when he was 12 or something?
Yeah, Noah Syndergaard syndrome hard.
Yeah, no, but like, was that really his dad? Because that was a completely different human being than the guy who was throwing to him on Monday.
The thing that freaked me out the most was the dude's one arm was way larger than his other arm.
Oh, little Quagmire.
It was, that guy, he's got some explaining to do there because he might want to take it easy. He might go blind, but I don't want to talk.
Work on his bicep flexibility with that right arm a little bit because he was steering it in. He got a little bit of the yips in between.
But he was throwing strikes, and his kid was hitting bombs.
He was better than Javier Baez's brother. Oof, that guy got.
Yeah, that was not.
He got a talking to afterward.
Yeah, that was not. Not a good effort by Little Baez. Is Little brother?
I think might be older. I'm not sure.
Ooh, that's even worse.
But back to the rule. I mean, first of all, the rule is stupid. And people are saying like, oh, well, there's kids out there. You can't just have like balls flying around. I mean, why are the kids even out there in the first? That's already a safety hazard.
Is anyone? I mean, I fear for those kids. Yeah. There are bullets coming out, and that's the only reason they did it.
110 miles per hour. Like they're already in danger.
God. The balls are juiced, the bats are corked, and you got that umpire like holding his hand up behind home plate. That's the only thing saving these kids from getting crushed.
Right.
But I mean, they hit these moon shots that have no shot at getting out, but they got to sit there and wait. And there's like this, this like swarm of kids trying. I'm like, it's gonna. How does somebody not get hurt?
All right,
I have an easy solution though.
What?
Like, still have the kids. Just like give them mini like mascot costumes.
That would actually be really funny. And
if they get drilled, I mean, they have some protection. Who cares? Like, it's a home run derby. You want these guys swinging as many times as like they possibly can.
Right.
I just don't know why you put kids out there. That's not fun.
All right, Nuke, I know you have kids, so you might want to earmuff this, but I kind of secretly hope one of those kids get drilled. I would watch the shit out of that. I'm sorry. I don't have kids, and I know there's probably guys that are like, whoa, dude, easy.
Here we go.
A little aggressive, though.
It would come on, stop it. Although I know you'd have a gift created.
I don't. Okay, as long as like they don't get seriously injured, like a shot to the arm or something.
You don't mind like an Andre Dawson, noggin punch, do you?
No, I'm not trying to get a kid concussed or some shit. I just want to see. What do you think is gonna
happen? It's coming down from like 300 feet up in the air.
I just want to see a kid get drilled. It'd be hilarious. Sorry. Not in the head. No serious injuries.
What if the kid had to back to the infield and like 114-mile-an-hour ball?
A 2-hour show of what ifs. I just want to see a very harmless kid getting pegged with a baseball.
There's nothing harmless about a ball hitting a kid in the face.
I didn't say face. See, you're escalating the shit out of it. Why is face?
No, his arm. Broken
like
wrist. Broken wrist.
Or like take a Charlie horse in the thigh and just
snipe him in the knee or something.
How old are these kids? Like, they have to be like, what, like 10, 11, 12?
Oh, I don't know. Some of them look young. I would say maybe like 8, 9, 10. But that was like, even 10 is scary.
They know what they're doing.
I might have heard this before. If this was already an idea out there, I apologize. If I don't remember who said it. But like, if you like want the whole I don't get why they have kids and for like, oh, like to have fun. Like, I don't know. Isn't it just more fun just watching? Like, behind, like have him sit like around home plate with like the rest of the players. That'd be pretty cool, in my opinion.
Would be pretty cool.
Exactly.
But I would much rather do that than run around and get tagged by a line drive.
But how about this idea? You want to make the home run derby like really awesome? Have like 5 guys in the outfield, like players, just like by the wall, and like they get to rob home runs if they're like right there.
I'd watch the hell out of that.
What if the player, like, what if like Bryce Harper and Kyle Schwarber were squaring off in the finals, and Bryce Harper was allowed to go out in the field and do that, and then Schwarber would be given the opportunity because he's the best left fielder in baseball we know.
I like where you're at with that, but wouldn't that take precious energy away from when you have to go up? And
like each guy gets to pick his 5 guys to go out there.
Ooh.
Or like 3 guys. Like, all right, let's not like 3 guys, 2 guys, 2 or 3 guys.
Do they have to be major leaguers, or can I go get like LeBron James?
No, they have to be major leaguers.
Okay, fair enough.
Although that would be an interesting wrinkle. What if you could bring in what if we could cross pollinate professional leagues here?
That'd be awesome. I go get a 17 from the NBA.
I get Joel Embiid to just stand out there in right center.
I think we just made the home run derby awesome.
Yo, Rob Manfred, give us a call.
Yeah, seriously.
Ooh, is that a transition?
Yeah, DMs are open. No, because we're definitely going to talk about these people that created a serious petition because they think Kyle Schwarber doesn't even care.
Yeah, like that was the great part. Like, all these guys, like, this is the one time where they don't have to be all like so focused on like the whole competition of like winning a game or losing it. Like, they're all just having fun. They all had a blast. Kyle Schwarber's like Javier Baez, they're all going crazy when Harper is hitting these bombs. I mean, like Schwarber was like celebrating when Harper like walked it off or whatever, and then everyone's like, "God damn it! Like Harper cheated." Like, who cares?
Because it was fun. It was entertaining as hell to watch.
That's the whole purpose of it, and I doubt there is any kind of like incentive bonus for them to win it.
Right? Like
I don't think there is. At least not in players' contracts. I mean, maybe they get like a small little prize or something.
If
or
there's
actually,
anyone who should be
they used to make a donation to your. Didn't they used to make a donation? Yeah.
If anyone should be mad about like not winning stuff, it should be Gene Segura. He should get on the MVP before whoever blew it for the AL, and like they get a car or whatever.
No.
So he should be the only one who should be pissed off about not winning something.
They get a car and an awkward presentation.
Mike Trout hit another home run in the All-Star game.
It's pretty good.
We'll get to him later, bud. Oh, you go ahead and you save that Mike Trout.
Hey man, cars.
That's coming up later.
I have a story about his cars.
Yeah, we're gonna.
I'll tell you later.
The other thing, though, since we're talking about dumb Cubs Twitter, although I'll start with you, why are there Cubs fans that legit think they don't want Bryce Harper on the Cubs?
The funniest thing about that is like Harper's having a down. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, he's having a down year.
Like
he's
220 or 214.
Yeah, I think it's like 215. Yeah. He's been pretty bad since he had like a pretty good run in April when he was hitting just home runs left and right. But I mean, his numbers all across the board, they're down. But I mean, like the first thing everyone always points to is the batting average.
214.
And okay, that's great because I think Kyle Schwarber hit 214 last year, and like Cubs fans were still fine. Like, and hey, guess what? Kyle Schwarber's still pretty damn good. So. Bryce Harper's been good for 6 years. Like, what?
Exactly. There's nothing to panic about. You don't want to. No. You don't ditch 5 years of quality numbers on one down year.
He's already got over 20.
You're going to get him at a discount.
Yeah, that's.
So what's his on base percentage? Like his on base percentage is still like above average.
He does already have over 100 strikeouts. He's at 102 strikeouts. His OBP is 365.
That's amazing.
What an awful player getting on base like 15% better than
he's over 50 RBIs, isn't he?
Yeah, 54 RBIs and he has 78 walks.
Like,
yeah, I mean,
right?
Like, there's definitely like he's like swinging. He's like missing more this year. Like I don't know, maybe just something's off. Like, are we gonna trust like 3 months of being bad over being bad in quotes being bad over like 5-6 years and one of the greatest seasons ever?
Long story short. Oh, go ahead, Nook. Sorry.
I have a logic puzzle here. If Bryce Harper is still good at 214, 54, and a 364 with 100 strikeouts, what does that make Moncada?
A completely different player.
A completely better player?
Different player. He's not a. Come on, dude. Yo-Yo is not ever in the Bryce Harper mold. Harper is just pure, just
obviously.
Yeah, I'll say like
that's always funny. If you're harping so much, I mean, like if fans are harping so much on batting average, I mean, Yoan Moncada's hitting better,
right?
And like I mean, yeah, Yoan Moncada's ceiling is like Ian Happ. So yeah.
Oh Jesus, not this again.
Yoan Moncada.
Happ did hit a home run tonight. Anyways,
look at the numbers. They played the same amount of games in Major League Baseball. They're pretty close to it.
Yep.
No one's trying to make excuses for Ian Happ and how young he is. So
maybe that's the reason why Cubs fans don't want Bryce Harper, because you have Ian Happ.
Maybe, but they have to realize that eventually he or one of them is going to get traded for a starting pitcher. So
we have a scenario where Happ is gone.
Oh yeah.
Yes, and we're going to
get brought that up a few weeks ago too, didn't we?
That's right.
We're going to get to that in just a moment because it still blows my mind. Because I've seen Cubs fans try to justify it with, well, fine, we get Bryce Harper. Where do you put him? You put him in freaking right field, dude.
Yeah. What?
I don't understand. Why is this so difficult? I don't get
because Jason Hayward's good now.
Put him in center.
Would you put Jason Hayward in center, or would you put Harper in center?
Either one.
I'd probably put Hayward in center.
I think I'd put Hayward in center.
Yeah, the plan would be Hayward in center, and then but then you would have the other side of Cubs Twitter that would go crazy, the Albert Almora super fans, and they'd be losing their minds. So
yeah,
we have that to look forward to. Oh, by the way, Bryce Harper, one of his favorite players, Javier Baez.
He's everyone's favorite player right now.
Well,
I mean, really,
he's just pure electric, dude. It's just whew.
Top 20 player over the last year.
I have a lot of respect for a guy that's like, I'm batting leadoff in the All-Star game. I'm going to swing my hardest at the first pitch. And he walked up.
The Cubs can only hit Chris Sale in the All-Star game.
Yes. He walked up. He gave Chris Sale a salute. And he just put the bat up, first pitch, hard as he could, left center gap. Let's go.
Yep.
He did exactly what he said. I appreciate a man of his word. And he did exactly what he said he was going to do.
Well, I mean, did anyone expect him to take a pitch?
No, God.
Going back to the home run derby.
And throw him a changeup.
Javier Baez showed more patience in the home run derby than he did like any game of his career. Any at bat of his career. He took like the first 3 pitches, I think.
Right. It was weird. I think that has to be nerves.
It's probably because he knew his brother was throwing him. He's like, I've seen this BP before.
Yeah,
doesn't find the zone too much.
That has to be nerves. But to wrap it up, fun home run derby. All-Star game was meh. I mean, it was cool because of all the home runs, but I don't know. I'm not big on All-Star game.
I fell asleep during the middle of the game.
Yeah,
it did. Yeah, I did too. But the home run derby did exactly what it was supposed to. It entertained.
Yes.
It got people swinging. There was an element of drama to it, where there was working against the clock, 30-second bonuses. So no problem by me.
And Cubs fans, stop saying you don't want Bryce Harper because that's just stupid. I think we could all sign off on that.
You guys ready for this transition? Who would win in a home run derby for the White Sox if it was just White Sox guys? Moncada, Abreu, Davidson. Polka.
I think Polka might win.
Polka, yeah.
Right now, Polka's swinging, and that dude just hits bombs, dude. Just straight piss missiles coming out of that young man. Holy smokes!
By the way, how come Benetti hasn't picked up your line yet? Let's Polka, baby.
I don't know. It's got to be coming. I mean, Polka's already got 12 homers. Like, his average exit velocity is somewhere in the hundreds. He just crushes the ball. And he gets bonus points because he is pandering to the 108 crowd on Twitter.
Big time. Oh, my God, big time.
Yes, and I love it.
He tweeted about it again during the break, right?
Yep.
Yes, he did.
I'm here for all of that. Polka knows how to win the people. And he's like, I'm going to be playing right field. 108's in the right field. What's up, fellas? And it's awesome. And then he goes up and just hits piss missiles. And it's friggin' great. That kid came out of nowhere. I'm sorry. That kid makes me smile.
I have to give credit to Nuke. Nuke was on it when they cleaned him off waivers. He's like, this guy can hit for power.
He was. And I mean, that's really all he does.
Come on, Nuke. This is your time to brag. Come on.
Yeah, dude. You'd be like,
I am an award-winning journalist.
Whoa.
There it is. Love it. Oh, that was.
Dude,
it is.
That was a fastball right down the middle.
I think you're starting. Yeah, you definitely put that on a tee for me. Yep. So I think you started something, man. I did Sean Sierra's radio show this past week, and he's like, award-winning journalist. I'm like, oh.
Yeah.
It's because it's in your Twitter bio, dude.
Just reading off your bio.
I'm just trying to I did the one little bit of self-promotion.
I know. It's good, though. I like it. It gives
take a mile.
It gives our show some clout.
Let's get some Moncada.
Yeah. So, well, actually, we're going to get to deadline talk.
Mm-hmm.
That's the transition here because you brought up Matt Davidson. And there's a big rumor coming out of Atlanta from Mark Bowman, Braves beat writer for MLB.com. He said he's looking at Atlanta. He doesn't want them to bust up their farm system to try to win in the second half, but he put together a pretty good deal that a lot of people are starting to run with, where the White Sox would send Joakim Soria and Joakim, sorry, and Matt Davidson. That's just still hard to say.
Getting choked up already.
To Atlanta for left-handed pitcher Max Fried, first baseman Rio Ruiz, and catcher Alex Jackson. Now, I will openly admit, when I first saw the trade, after I got done crying because I saw Matt Davidson's name, I had to look up these guys from Atlanta. Wasn't really familiar with them. Max Fried is the number 7 prospect in the Braves system, where Alex Jackson is the number 13 prospect. And as Nuke pointed out pre-show here, Mr. Rio Ruiz, which fantastic baseball name, he was up on the show last year, correct?
He was in the show, yeah.
Yeah, it was bad.
Batted 193.
Woo! Okay.
In 53 games.
Almost as good as Bryce Harper, some Cubs fans would say.
Third baseman.
So a little bit real quick, and I'll turn it over to you guys. Alex Jackson, former first-round pick. He was 6th overall in the 2014 draft by Seattle. He's walking that fine line between bust and, living up. But I don't know.
So would you do the trade?
Here's my. Yeah, would you take the trade, Zoe?
Well, Fried is the gem of the trade.
Don't verbally rationalize it. Just say yes or no.
Yes.
Gut feeling.
Yes.
Yeah, see, but that's exactly the same way.
What a betrayal to Matt Davidson. Now he's never going to come on.
We need to at Matt Davidson. No, see, look, here's where I'm at on this. I agree with you, Zoe. I know. But the hesitation to just jump and say yes is why they don't do it. Or I don't think they do it because it's a fair deal.
It is.
But
I'm looking
it's a
more
very
and more.
fair deal.
It's a fair deal.
And Fried, you get a left-handed pitcher that you need desperately, who's been pretty good. His ERA's in the 3s. He spent 2 years in the bigs. He's coming off a DL stint, which I'm not even sure.
It's a
Aldo,
blister.
Yeah, it's a blister.
what was he? Oh, just a blister. Okay, yeah. But he must have been a late call-up because he's only thrown 20 innings. He's only started 3 games. So
right.
3.5 ERA. I mean, that's the lefty pitcher that you need. Then you insert 2 lefties into your starting rotation. Now you're balanced. But Alex Jackson, okay.
You're rolling the dice
Not
on
bad.
Alex Jackson.
I think
the same thing.
Those 2 guys, yeah.
And the same thing with Rio Ruiz. But you're giving up a bullpen piece, which is, I mean, they're worth pennies because they switch every year.
And at this point, I mean, Joaquin Soria doesn't really matter to the future success of the White Sox. So.
Exactly right. I mean, so you're going to get, but all right. So if you were to give up Soria, you might get Ruiz and Jackson. You're not getting Fried.
The big piece, basically Davidson for Fried.
Yes.
And here's the thing we discovered: Fried was picked 7th overall, I believe, in 2012.
Yes.
And he is high school boys with Lucas Giolito. Both went to Harvard Westlake.
And just like Lucas, Max had Tommy John surgery.
Mm-hmm.
It's better to get those out of the way early.
But here's the thing, right? I mean, it all comes down to how the White Sox view Matt Davidson. What is he? And is he your back? You know what? Here's where like the pacing and weird, how things line up at the trade deadline. You're not going to deal Davidson first if you're expecting or might get calls on Abreu, right?
You're not dealing Abreu.
Well, right. But like he says, like Rick Hahn says, if the deal, I mean, what if a team comes in and says, we're desperate, we need it, like the Brewers, which I don't think they ever will. But if they came in and said, listen, we're desperate, we lost out on Machado, we'll give you, our 3, 6, and 9 prospects, and that's it, straight up, which would be a massive overpay for him, and then with only 1 year left, and then he might come back. Right.
Like Aldo said, although I'm not opposed.
I don't think it happens. I don't think Abreu goes anywhere. I don't know how they see Davidson.
The White Sox needs to take a lesson from the Orioles and not wait too long on some of these guys, like Avisail Garcia, which they might have already waited too long because. What's he gonna have? 1 more year after this year?
If he comes back hitting bombs like
but
he got hurt.
Teams there's no offers coming on him last winter, not good ones, because no team would believe it. Anybody can have 1 good year. Don't you remember Brady Anderson?
Oh, I do. Cleveland?
No, Orioles. But he was a total roid head.
Oh, that's right. Oh, yeah. I was thinking of
But literally, led the league in home runs 1 year.
50 home runs, right? And then just fall.
Yeah. And then never heard from him again. I don't even think he was in the big leagues. Probably because he couldn't put himself together after all the roids.
Yeah.
Who is the top third base? Vladdy Jr. He ain't coming.
No way. No way.
After that,
I don't even think that the White Sox view Davidson as a third baseman. If they did, they'd have him playing there. But they have Sanchez playing there.
So Davidson's just their DH backup first baseman to Abreu. So.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, maybe you have that in Polka. Polka might be able to do that once Avisail Garcia comes back. So maybe you can. Maybe you do have that flexibility where you can say, all right, we can make that deal because we really want that lefty.
Mm-hmm.
And Polka is athletic enough to play first base.
Yeah.
So maybe you do. Maybe you do it. Maybe you force the issue. Maybe you say, I want Fried and I want somebody a little bit better than Ruiz. Because Alex Jackson isn't a terrible choice.
Oh, tell the Braves just to give us Austin Riley.
Yeah. Dansby Swanson, he's been a disappointment.
I mean, if I'm in the White Sox and if it's Davidson, you're taking a shot like you can have another solid pitcher in the rotation.
Mm-hmm.
I go for it, actually. I just talked myself into it with, the flexibility of Polka to go down into first base.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And side note, White Sox fans, from a White Sox fan, I got Soria does not demand a top 100 prospect. In some of the comments to the tweet, like, oh yeah, they're totally get a top 100 prospect. No, dude. Sorry. Got some bad news for you guys. Take a seat. He doesn't demand a top 100 prospect.
Like, he had a good month of June.
Yes.
He's gonna get you like a lottery ticket, like prospect.
Right.
I mean, do you bundle even more, like Luis Avalon?
Bundle.
You might just like bundle. Here, listen, we'll give you the entire bullpen.
Just keep. It's the whole. Just bundle as many bad to mediocre players for somebody.
I mean,
no. I think that's a
top 5 prospects. You have a righty, 2 righties at 1 and 2, a lefty as your third, and then a righty at 4 and a lefty at 5. And then Austin Riley is their 6th rated prospect, and he's a third baseman.
I mean, the White Sox don't have even Abreu. He's not gonna. I don't think or maybe Abreu would net like one of those guys.
I don't think so. I think but I mean,
maybe.
I agree with you, Aldo.
Yeah, Austin Riley's the number 9 or 49th overall prospect. He's the number 3 third baseman in MLB.com's top 100 prospects. He's in AAA right now. He's batting .298. Looks like he's more of a contact guy than a home run hitter. He's only got 4 home runs. I don't know. I just
trade Luis Robert for him.
Nah.
You guys are gonna get Mike Trout anyway.
Well, that's true. But
yes, we are.
You kind of messed me up there, Nuke, with the moving Polka in.
I mean, yeah, and it's a lefty power. And I mean, Davidson, let's be honest about Davidson here.
I know.
He burst out like crazy in the beginning of the
How many home runs does he have right now?
He's got 14 yammers.
Yeah.
I think half of those came in
half of them came
against the Royals.
Exactly.
He hasn't been that good.
I know.
That's why I'm saying, Polka's big swing and miss too. But you've got all those guys in the minors too.
What was the trade? What did the White Sox get for Frazier from the Yankees? Because like this would be kind of a similar trade where like the third baseman, or was that a package deal?
That was a big package deal because they got David Robertson too.
Yeah,
and
was that all? Was it Frazier, Canely,
and they got Tommy Canely? Yeah.
Oh, okay. I didn't remember if it was a separate deal or if they were all together.
No, and and Frazier. I mean, Frazier has a name, but he was not really anything special. That kind of special of a player. Plus, he was a rental. Canely, I think, was a rental too. Robertson had a few years.
Mm-hmm.
But that's the only way they were able to pry Blake Rutherford and a few others. Pito Polo, I think, and then 2 more.
Robertson Davidson and Soria. They're just not getting because like they got Rutherford back for Frazier and Canely and Robertson. So.
Right, and Rutherford was like one of those top 100 prospects.
So yeah, that's just not.
Rutherford's raking too.
I'll tell you what. Yeah, right, exactly. But he wasn't, and there were some concerns about him prior to the trade. Just because, but even having spoken to Chris Getz this year, his big thing was like, this is only his 2nd season of professional baseball. Got to give him some time to develop. And I mean, he's literally turned it on big time this year.
Speaking of which, there's another White Sox player turning it around. You want to come on, Zoe? You got to get on these transitions. Come on,
up on the transitions.
Yeah, I'm reading who was all in the trade for Frazier. Sorry, I got caught up.
Who was it?
Traded by the White Sox with Tommy K.
Yeah.
Canale.
It was Ian Clarkin.
They got Ian Clarkin, Tito Polo, Blake Rutherford, and Tyler Clippard.
Wait, that was like that.
No, Tyler Clippard was sent to. Oh, that's right. That's right. That was a salary dump.
Yes.
It was literally like, you have to take him. You're like, we don't want him, but
Right.
you have to take him. You really gonna make me take him?
By the way, your transition jumped the gun a little bit, but we'll get to it. I want to talk about Cubs and DeGrom, but we can get to
yeah.
We know that's gonna happen.
Well, let's get into the stat of the week. Nuke, hit him.
All right. Here's your stat of the week. For everyone that thinks Moncada sucks. Yo Moncada's his first half, just these numbers: 18 doubles, 5 triples, 11 home runs, 40 RBIs. All right. I think he's batting like 220 something, whatever. He joins Javier Baez, Andrew Benintendi, Trevor Story, and Chris Taylor as the only MLB players with 15 plus doubles, 5 or more triples, 10 or more home runs, and 40 plus RBIs this season. Those are some good names.
That's decent company.
It's very good company.
And he's been pretty good since he came back from his.
He's batting
like,
327 in July. Batting 327 in July. Has only 14 strikeouts in 13 games. And if you compare that to a short May where he got injured, he had in 19 games, he had 24 strikeouts. So, in that area, a little bit less, but he's trending better. Yeah.
Yes. And I don't know. It's something about watching the games. It feels like it's just different with him. Like, I feel like he's a little bit more motivated, a little bit more focused. I don't know if Elefante got in his face like we've been requesting forever. But there's something about Yo-Yo watching the games where he definitely seems a lot more dialed in. Maybe he knows something's coming, Eloy, or he's just something flipped a switch where he just seems.
You know what it is?
When into it.
And this was my biggest complaint about him during that period where he was like lollygagging all the time and bad body language. When shit is going bad, it's easy to do that. It's easy to say, well, that was a bad call, or I struck out 2 or 3 times and people are going to light me up and it's not good. And then I make an error in the field and then it's, compounding things. So yeah, he's batting 327. He's feeling good at the plate. All that stuff's going to leak out in a good way, but that's what I don't want to see in a consistent major leaguer. I don't want to see that. I want to see, if you're like Renteria says, if you're not hitting, you better field it. And if you're not fielding it, you better damn well hit it. So you got to stay consistent. You can't let things that's where baseball's awesome, because you got to be mentally tough.
Right.
And he's young. He's going to learn. He's going to learn what pitchers are doing to him. He's going to, pick up, there's all these tiny little nuances in between innings, watching the game, figuring out what pitchers are trying to do to him at both sides of the plate. It takes time. And if we can make those stretches a little bit longer, of those positive stretches a little bit longer in the second half with him, and not get injured and not mope, then that's a big step forward.
And I know we're already.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I mean, I know it's a weird halfway point because we're 60% through the season already. Like there's only like what
80 games left, or like 70.
Like 70 games left. Yeah. So we're pretty far past halfway. But yeah, I mean, that's what I want to see. I want to see him be more consistent in those good stretches and able to pull himself out of those bad stretches without the moping and a little bit faster.
I'm right there with you with that. And it's the moping that's been killing me. And I think you got a good point. Maybe it's because he's got it going now at the dish, but the moping is kind of gone away. And no, that's a good point. I'd like to see a little bit more consistency with this focused, dialed in kind of attitude. So
I think everyone always also forgets, like, he hasn't played in a full season in baseball.
Right.
Played 144 games.
Yeah, I mean,
today was his 1-year anniversary of being called up.
He's a kid. Like, the kids are like, they're allowed to, a kid in terms of like baseball life.
Right.
Right.
They're gonna suck. Like, Anthony Rizzo was garbage when he was called up. When he made his debut with the Padres, Javier Baez struck out 46% of the time.
Oh my God, he was quite a few years of like, is this guy going to turn it around?
Like Addison Russell spent his entire like rookie year hitting like 230 with an on base of like 290.
And this is like this leaks over into White Sox Twitter too a little bit, where a faction of White Sox Twitter gets like, screw Lucas Giolito, we're giving up on him, he's terrible. Same deal,
right?
You know, give the kid a break. You know, he's just trying to learn. We may have talked about this last week, but I found, doing research on this, I found, certain players like John Lester didn't do very well his first 2 or 3 years up. Aaron Nola, who's the best pitcher in the National League, didn't become the dominant pitcher that he is now, 2 years ago. And Roy Halladay had a 10.5 ERA in his 4th year in the big leagues. So, if you bail on him and don't give him the opportunity to figure it out, then you're going to miss out on something special sometimes.
And I agree. And the thing that pisses me off, we're really good at cutting each other off this episode. The thing that's pissing me off, though, is that's what this season is for. This season is for these guys to develop, and the season is for these guys to suck and learn from the suckiness and learn not to suck. So I don't understand why people get so bent out of shape about it.
You couldn't have put it better myself there, Zoe. This season is for sucking.
Yes.
It's to not suck next year.
You know where it came from? It was like the weird preseason talk of, maybe they could compete for a wild card. Like that should have never been in the conversation. This team is gonna be bad from the start.
I probably say that.
And I'll admit I was in that, like, hey, we might be better than we think we are.
Like that
Matt's hands up on that one.
Light optimism. This was literally going to be like what year? Like year one. It would be like year one of the full rebuild, because like they barely got rid of Quintana last year.
Right. This is the bottom. Yeah. This should be the bottom. The bottom.
To end on a positive White Sox note, it was a Kopech day today. He went 6 full, gave up 7 hits, 1 earned run, only 1 walk, and had 9 strikeouts.
Yuppers. That's a good outing.
Yes. Solid outing. Reports that I read was that curveball is still not there. It's not all the way there. It's coming in slow, and that's fine to change velocities, but it's not moving as much as you'd want. So he's basically giving the hitters a break. And it's like, eat this 98-mile-an-hour fastball, eat this 100-mile-an-hour. Oh, here's 78 on a tee. It's like, oh, shit.
Well, that's always been his knock, that he hasn't developed the secondary pitches yet. So
it's getting better. It's just not there yet, is what I've read. So
he's going to come up in September, right?
I think so.
Nuke?
I think so. Well, the only reason I'm pausing is because I don't know what his innings will be. I don't. No, I'm holding a hard line with Eloy, that he won't be up this year.
Oh, I was going to ask you this last week. Go
ahead.
Excited at all concerned about Eloy's little injuries every couple months?
I think they're just being really cautious, to be honest with you. I think if they were in a pennant race, he wouldn't be missing games.
No, I'm more concerned with Lewis Robert not being able to keep his hands from getting injured.
Yeah, dude.
I don't know what's up with that kid.
He's got no problem posting to Instagram, but
oh man, you should have seen his latest one. He's sitting there giving the pucker face on Snapchat or Instagram. So here's my only thing. Here's my only thing this year. So with Kopech, he's at 88 innings right now. I think that includes tonight. So, if you're going to average 6 innings per outing, he threw 134 last year.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't see him getting past 160. I mean, the White Sox will say he's not really on an innings limit. When I spoke to Getz earlier in the season, he said he was going to, Kopech was going to throw the majority of his innings at AAA, just the way he perceived it, and it's turned out that way. But, if it gets to a point, and I've always said this, we know this, I've said, he's not going to come up until he has some struggles. He's had those struggles. I also said if he goes on a string of like 6 or 7 dominant starts, and if trades work out a certain way, like if James Shields, if they're able to move him, or some other God forbid an injury happens or something, maybe a spot opens up for him. Maybe he comes up a little bit earlier, but he's got it. That all has to line up right. Otherwise, if he doesn't, if he wavers a little bit, or they just don't want to bring him up because, like you said, he doesn't have that secondary pitch yet, the second secondary pitch, then do you bring him up and give him the last 10 innings in bullpen situations in September? I don't know. Maybe not. Do you give him one start in September and just have him sit up there? Maybe. But that's the only thing that I worry about is you're not going to bring this guy up and let him blast through 160 innings, get up to like 180. That's just irresponsible, especially with the power that we're talking about with him too.
Do you guys remember how many starts Giolito got at the end of last year? Because he got called up. Was that just in September?
He got a bunch. In 2017, he had 7 starts.
Okay.
Yep.
So I can definitely see them bring him up and just put him in the bullpen.
Doing the Chris Sale route. Worked out pretty good for Chris.
Just give him a taste. Like just give. I mean, I don't think it'd be so much for the fans. Obviously, it'd be a mutual.
It's also expanded roster time, so I don't see. I don't see a negative in just bringing him up. And I asked Chris Getz this before in our last conference call. Is there a scenario where they'd bring him up and just not let him play and just hold players up there? And I could see that happening with him, even if they don't let him pitch or they only let him get 1 or 2 starts, and then he just rides the pine and gets used to the inertia of Major League Baseball and traveling, how to get around the city at certain times and things like that. I mean, because that does play into it,
Yeah.
Well, guys, Eloy's coming up for the fans. So we're going to change topics so Nuke can't tell me no. And we'll go to the Cubs at deadline. So
this is a fun one.
As we spoke about at length last show, what the Cubs would have to give up for DeGrom from the Mets. I think we all agreed that DeGrom would be the crown jewel for the Cubs to go out and get. After that, there's a pretty steep decline in available starting pitching. But I'm seeing more and more Cubs beats and other bloggers think that the Cubs might want to go the bullpen route.
I mean, Brandon Morrow's on the DL again. Seeing that news is it's a biceps, something that's a biceps. That sucks. Like he already had a back injury, like taking off his pants a month ago. Now he has a long history. I mean, this guy's been around for like more than 10 years. He has a long history of when he was a starting pitcher. He has a long history of just injuries all over the place. And now with this, I mean, they were already in like trade rumors with the Orioles closer Zach Britton since last year.
Yeah.
They were still like in talks in December before he tore his Achilles. He's back. Our boy Bruce Levine had them there. The Cubs are one of like 2 or 3 teams that are still in talks for Britton right now. And that's, I mean, with the Morrow news, that's a bigger. Like they need that insurance, because if Morrow goes down, I mean, you're down to Carl Edwards Jr., Pedro Strop, Justin Wilson, but you don't have like that lockdown closer that you want in the postseason.
You have to have in the postseason.
Luis Avila.
Yeah.
If they were able to get Britton, that's huge.
And here's the thing. It's like the Orioles messed up. They got unlucky that Britton got hurt, but like they didn't trade him last year. So like it's not going to cost nearly as much as he would if the Cubs got him last year.
And I'm shocked. I'm shocked at what the Orioles were able to get from the Dodgers, to be honest.
So they got that Diaz kid.
Diaz. I mean, yeah.
And then this is the Dodgers like never trade like their top guys.
So I guess that leads me to this question, though, Aldo, for you. When you see, 2 teams that are arguably going to be some of the biggest competition for the Cubs in winning the World Series this year, with the Dodgers getting Machado, it's obviously a huge get for a big playoff run this year. But then on the other side of things, kind of quietly, not really quiet in the baseball community, but as a larger scale, it's nowhere near the Makata deal. Indians made some moves today, like big moves, going out and getting hand from. It was going to sound gross. I was going to say getting hand from San Diego, like Cleveland and San Diego. Just saw a bad movie in the back seat of a Toyota Corolla.
Perfect.
Got a little hand from San Diego, but that's a big move though for the Cleveland bullpen to bolster that up. So, as a Cubs fan, as someone just kind of overseeing the comings and goings on in the league with some of these contenders gearing up for the postseason run, do you think the heat's on a little bit more for the Cubs to make a big move, or are you just good staying pat?
They're definitely not going to stay. They're not going to stay pat. They even before all these moves, they're going to trade for someone. They need to. It's either going to be a starting pitcher, a reliever, or both. I mean, they've done it every year since they've basically been in this playoff window. They've either traded for a starter or a reliever, or both. Manny Machado going to Dodgers, that obviously makes LA better. But, I mean, LA is still in a semi-tight race in the West. Or not, they're in a tight race in the West. So, like, there's no guarantee that they even, like, get out of the wild card game. And plus, they don't have anyone behind Clayton Kershaw. So, bring on the Dodgers. I don't care.
You're not worried about the Dodgers. You said that the year they won the Cubs won the ship, too. I do remember that.
I mean, they're a good team. They're evenly matched. I'm not saying like the Cubs are guaranteed to win the Dodgers. They're obviously better with Manny Machado, but they're an evenly matched teams, and the Cubs have the better. I mean, the Cubs pitching, their starting pitching hasn't performed up to their capability this year because Kyle Hendricks has been like average, and average is like pretty good for the majority of the league. Jose Quintana has been better lately, so that's a good sign. But I mean, Lester's been great. They're still hoping to get Yu Darvish back. So I'd still take those four guys in a best of 7 playoff series against the Dodgers.
So did you answer the question? Would you rather them, if you had to choose one, would you go starter or would you go bullpen? Did you
this time?
We're still live. We're still good.
Yeah, we're good. It just was a little
Jenna
hiccup.
joined. Who's Jenna? Hi, Jenna.
I got scared for him. I was like, what?
What was John Heyman saying, Nuke?
He said Syndergaard is the move.
For the Cubs?
Well, not necessarily for the Cubs.
Just
it's
for, like,
more
any
about
contender?
are the Mets actually going to do anything with that?
His injury stuff is scary.
Right.
And well, that's the thing. But they also have, because are the Mets going to actually offer DeGrom?
I mean, they have to be listening. They'd be dumb not to.
Right.
It's going to take.
But Syndergaard is an easier get for another team.
Mm-hmm.
It'll cost
Because
less.
of the injury stuff. Costs a little less, and they have 3 years of Syndergaard, I think.
Yeah. And then Jesse Rogers had his little survey of like different MLB scouts and executives. And he said they came up with like the 3 names that could be a centerpiece in a trade for DeGrom would be Addison Russell, Ian Happ, and Mike Montgomery. One scout said that like 2 out of those 3 plus some prospects could get it done. I already said for DeGrom.
For DeGrom? Oh my God.
I already said.
You feel like you're giving up a lot for DeGrom on that.
What? If it's Ian Happ and Mike Montgomery plus prospects?
Yeah, I'm good with that.
Oh no, that's fine. But you throw Addison Russell in there, that's
I think they all said like if it's those 3, it's like you don't do that. That's way too much.
No way. It'd be like gut your lineup and then say, okay, go out there and pitch.
That's why even I've said it. It's easier. The Cubs still have like David Bodie like just hanging around. If I don't know, he could be on the roster if the Cubs didn't have that extra bullpen arm. So he's already shown that he could like play at this level. So he could like be the depth backup if like Russell and Happ were to go in a trade. But I've said it since last week. I'd prefer if it was just if you have to have 2 position players, it'd be Happ and Almora, because I think it'd be easier to trade for another like depth outfielder than like lose Addison Russell's defense.
Fair enough.
True.
So, side note, what happened to Andrew Miller?
Is he the David Ross broken?
Did he get hurt, or is he just bad this year?
No, he got hurt.
David Ross broke him in 26 in the World Series.
And then other side note, as I'm looking up Brad Hand stats for Cleveland, which pretty decent year for him this year. On MLB.com, it has their name and then their nickname. Brad Hand's nickname is Bro Tato.
Tato.
Bro Tato.
The Cubs were supposedly, they had him on their radar too, but they just don't have the prospects to.
He's got a 3.05 ERA, 24 saves, a 1.08 WHIP. I mean, he's
pretty good. He's like under team control for 2 more years after this year, I think.
Right. But Cleveland's bullpen is looking very strong. And that's what as we all know, that's what you need going into the postseason. So I think that was a huge move for Cleveland.
Yeah, but history is kind of repeating itself now because the last time the Indians traded for a left-handed reliever,
right,
they lost to the Cubs in the World Series. So
Andrew Miller had a knee injury.
Okay, I was just looking at the stats. Like, what happened to this dude?
Oh, that's right. I think he might have gone to the DL when the Cubs were playing in Cleveland. Like he didn't even I think he either pitched to one batter or in warm-ups he got hurt or something.
It was like knee inflammation in May.
But so I don't know, but we got to keep moving around. We're coming up on time, so definitely. If anything, if a big trade does happen, one of us will jump on, we'll record something, but always follow us on Twitter at PinwheelsIvy pod. We will definitely be all over all this stuff. This is what we do. So make sure you're following that. So let's get into the weekly pickle because this is interesting. So during the All-Star game, weird storylines come up because it's slow, especially this time of year. There's no other sports going on, so all eyes are on baseball. And the big topic that seemed to be was Mike Trout is the best player in the league. That seems to be everyone agrees on that.
Breaking news.
But the thing that made the headlines is how terrible Major League Baseball is marketing their best player. Some marketing firm or whatever did a study comparing him to his popularity level to the NBA, and he scored Kenneth Farid.
Ugh.
That's how popular Mike Trout is.
Who dat?
I have
no idea who that is.
I only know who Kenneth Farid is because he is on my NBA fantasy team.
He's like a defensive specialist that gets rebounds and he throws down some monster dunks every once in a while. He's jacked as hell. But
so he's well known.
Yeah, exactly. But it is an interesting point though, and it's brought up a lot of conversation to the point where the Angels front office and Mike Trout both had to release statements about this, which is wild to me. Trout had a good point. He's just I focus on baseball. I make appearances when I can. He built some huge hospital or something, and he's not a bad guy by any means, and he doesn't hide in a cave when he's not playing baseball. It's just I think he's on a shit team.
Actually.
Like a literal cave.
Well, his house. He doesn't really leave his house.
Well, that was the criticism that he doesn't really get out there.
Right. Well, and he defended himself saying it's a long baseball is one of the longest seasons in professional sports. Takes up most of my time. Blah 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 blah. But it's just wild to me.
Manfred's statement was pretty much just that. If Mike wants to market himself more, he should.
Right.
He can do all these things, and he can. But if you just watch him, I mean, as a conscious outside observer, if you just watch him, you can tell he's a little bit more reserved. He's a little uncomfortable in public situations. And from being in the area that he is from and having friends of friends, connected in some way and talking to coaches around here that saw him playing in high school, to a man, he is South Jersey, quiet. All he wants to do is his thing here. And he's really, listen, for what publicity he does and the amount of people that pull at him and organizations that pull at him, he's really generous and good. But because he's not flashy and he's not dying for the public eye, he shouldn't be criticized for that.
Right.
And Major League Baseball does a good job of putting him out there. I mean, he's on MLB Network all the time. Like, they talk about him all the time. They did a documentary about him last year. I mean, literally, I don't know what else Major League Baseball could do.
Make the Angels trade him.
That's literally the only thing.
To a big market team such as
the White Sox.
The White Sox.
Well, I said big market, guys.
The White Sox. I mean, think of it this way. When Mike Trout is playing home games in Anaheim, 2/3 of this country is asleep.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, that's kind of that's probably the best point. That's the best point that you could have made. It's not necessarily, I mean, he's in Los Angeles, but it's West Coast. And
that's me,
like you said,
myself a high five.
Everybody, half this country's asleep. 2/3.
Like, let's just take it in this country, because obviously where he's from, he's like the most popular player. But in his time, like in his prime, like compare the prime from like then to now, who was like more popular, do you think? Ichiro or Mike Trout? Because Ichiro was in the West Coast too.
Yeah, but Ichiro had the whole Japan
he was a novelty
thing, dude.
Yeah, he was a novelty, which, I mean, not in his career. I mean, he was an amazing player, but he was a novelty in that, like, he was that foreign player that's really, really good.
Yeah, and we've seen in other sports as well as baseball, when the Japanese get behind a player, they get they light up any kind of voting for the guy.
Yeah.
Ichiro won the All-Star voting in his prime by 10 million votes that one year, because he had all of Japan just voting for him. It was unbelievable. And that was more, I mean, Ichiro was a pretty popular player in the US, because of the way he played and because it was a little bit different, and it was kind of cool to see this guy basically drag button doubles into the gap. But the thing is, Ichiro's popularity grew because he had an entire country behind him. He is the man in Japan, dude. That's a big deal.
The man in Japan.
Yes, that is a big deal. So I get that comparison, but that's just Trout's from
South Jersey.
South Jersey.
Jersey boy.
South
New
Jersey,
but it's South
Japan.
Jersey. It's a very different area.
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing. I have a question. I don't even think, what would be different? What would really be different if Trout played on the East Coast or for a big market team? But exposure to who? I mean, do you think he would really bring people to baseball?
I don't know about that, but it goes back to the point where he'd be playing games when people are awake.
Be watching, right?
Yes.
I mean, obviously, you put him in New York City in a Yankees uniform, he's going to blow up.
He's going to be on ESPN twice a week.
Right. You put him in Boston, same thing.
Right. White Sox.
White Sox.
This is going to be the cliche, well, not really direct comparison, but I mean, the Cubs with Javier Baez, Mike Trout isn't, I guess, as flashy, but I mean, this dude, he robs home runs. He's the best player in the world. I mean, it's not
very exciting to watch.
It's not
his
personality is boring, but I mean, Chris Bryant. Chris Bryant is still very well known. He's Ned Flanders.
Chris Bryant tweets out the word fiddlesticks. All right, people still watch Chris Bryant because he plays for the Cubs, and they're on this gigantic national spotlight, and people are awake when they're playing. Playing in October helps too.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I put out Trout as the best player in the history of baseball, and the first response I got on Twitter was he needs some success in October.
I hate people.
That was literally undeniable. He could play. He could play half the season and have a higher WAR than 90% of the.
He could retire. He could retire tomorrow. He'd be a Hall of Famer.
Right. And but I do understand where people are I'd like to see him play in October. I want to see him play in October. I would love to see Mike Trout in the World
high
Series.
Leverage situations.
Mike Trout can't. It's not his fault. He's not a crappy team.
Right. But to circle all the way back to the point you were just making, he's a boring guy off the field. Very vanilla, very plain, very whatever. But the level he plays baseball at is so exciting that, you know what, Nuke? Yes, I think he would bring people to baseball. I think people that aren't going to stay up till 10, 11 o'clock at night to catch the first inning of the Angels game, if he's playing in Central Time or Eastern Time and he's on 6, 7 o'clock primetime television, someone's going to turn that on and be like, holy shit, when they watch him run a 4.240 to. I know that's exaggerating, but
he's
to go.
I think he's fast.
To track down a baseball, and he makes a great diving catch, and then he comes up to the plate and guns a triple into the right field corner. Like that, people are going to be like, "Oh shit, I'm gonna watch this guy." It's like watching, Muhammad Ali box or Christina Yamaguchi figure skate, for Christ's sakes. Like it's something that people might not be that into, but if you're that good at your craft, people are going to watch. And
I mean, the Yankees would be the place.
That's the biggest stage in baseball.
Exactly. It's history, and the fans are out of control. And the money, and he would be, let me tell you, that would be the absolute opposite of anything he would want. He would probably live down in South Jersey and commute to games probably by helicopter to New York City, because he is a country kid. He is like, he bought a farm like some acres down here, and he lives like Warren Buffett in like a split level home.
So you know what,
where nobody can see him, and he's just
done did it. You done transitioned right into your Mike Trout truck story. All right, so we usually do our last bets at this time of the show, but we took an unofficial vote before the show, and we agreed that Nuke, because of our Mike Trout talk today, has to tell the story that he's told us off the camera. And I know you want to preface it, so go ahead and preface it.
I will absolutely qualify this.
Yes, go ahead. I turn it over to you, Nuke. Go ahead. Story time.
All right, story time with Uncle Matt.
Mm-hmm.
So Mike Trout is from about 30, 40 minutes away from me in a very farmish town. This story comes to me secondhand from people that knew him in high school, were around and in his circles. I don't want to give too much information, but like this person experienced this story from him or heard it. Anyway, it's a secondhand story.
It's a secondhand story, people.
So the story goes, after like the first year after he played in the major leagues, he came back and he was living in his parents' house, and he's a very simple guy. All he wants is like a Toyota Tacoma, and go hunting and fishing, and that's it. That's all he wants in life.
Don't we all?
So but his agent kind of said, listen, you should start to build up some credit and, to be an adult and all that kind of thing. And he's like, just open up a credit card and go buy some stuff and pay it all off. You got plenty of money. Just don't let it sit there on the credit card. Just pay with the credit card and then immediately pay it off. So he goes up to like a neighborhood right in here in Cherry Hill, and he goes to the Mercedes dealership. And he walks in and he's wearing, like, as the story goes, he's wearing a Millville Bolts. They're the Thunderbolts. He's wearing like a Millville Thunderbolts hooded sweatshirt, like the kind that like you cut at the, at the neck.
Yeah.
I don't know. With him, his neck's like this, so he probably had to cut it. But he's wearing like work boots and like Wranglers. And he just kind of like walks in, and he's like, somebody approaches him and says, can I help you? And he's like, yeah. He's like, looking at cars. And they're like, which one? And he's like, I don't know. What's the most expensive one you got?
Good answer.
And they're like, well, we have this one. And he's like, cool. Do you have it here? And they're like, yeah. And he's like, can I take it home today? And they're like, well, we don't usually do that. And, just curious, who are you?
Classic Mike Trout story. No one knows who he is.
Just like, I'm Mike Trout. Yeah, exactly. Nobody knows who he is. He's like, I'm Mike Trout, and they're like, he's like, I'm a professional baseball player. And like, oh, so whatever. So basically, they're like, okay, for you, we'll do it. And he writes a check and drives the car home. And as the story goes,
repeat that last sentence again.
He writes a check and walks out. It was like $150,000 car, and something that he would never drive. And so he drives home. He goes back to his parents' house, and like, as the story goes, his dad kind of like, what did you do? what did you do? What is this?
What you do?
And he's like, I guess his dad was like, well, how did you pay for it? And he's like, I wrote a check. And he's like, he's like, can you return it? He's like, no. So basically, like, I heard this, a year or two later, and he's like, my buddy that's telling me the story is like, the car just sits in a garage. And they say his girlfriend at the time, who's now his wife, like drove it around like every now and then. But he has like I think he has a Toyota Tacoma with a big Angels sticker on the back, and that's it.
That is the most Mike Troutiest Mike Trout story I've ever Mike Trouted. We do have some
again, secondhand story.
Right. We do have some breaking news here. I think this is the first time we've had breaking news on the podcast.
Haven't been paying attention.
The Cubs have traded for reliever Jesse Chavez, who is 1 year older than me. Oh my goodness. Okay. He has a 3-1 win-loss record, a 3.51 ERA. He's pitched in 30 games this year with 1 save, 56 innings pitched with a whip of 1.24. Apparently, according to Ken Rosenthal, sorry, it's getting late here, folks. The Cubs traded a yet-to-be-named minor league player for...
I got it right here. It's left-handed pitcher Tyler Thomas. Never heard of him, so...
Okay, so Tyler Thomas for Jesse Chavez. So it looks like Theo has popped the cork and is starting to wheel and deal here.
What did I say earlier in the show? They were going to trade for someone.
This happens to be a guy. I can't believe he's older than me, and he's still in the league. Good for you, Jesse.
Grizzled veteran.
You guys want some splits on Jesse Chavez? Oh God, this better not be a Tyler Chatwood. Remember how Tyler Chatwood was really good away from Coors Field?
Yes.
Oh no.
This guy he pitched for the Rangers. His splits at home, 28 innings, 5.14 ERA, a 5.04 FIP, but on the road, 28 in the third innings, 1.91 ERA, a 3.60 FIP. So let's just hope we don't get Tyler Chatwood.
So on that note, that's our show this week, everybody. Thank you for tuning in. Remember, subscribe, rate, review, and enter to win the Jose Abreu signed bat. If you are a Google Play person, just take a screenshot of your subscription, tweet it to us at PinwheelsIvyPod, or DM it to us, and you're going to want to use the secret word, which is walk-off. Got about a week to enter. It's a real deal. It's a solid bat. Again, pictures of him signing it with a certificate of authenticity. And we're back in the shit now. Second half of the season, we're getting into it. Cubs are gearing off for their, playoff run, where the White Sox, hopefully, Eloy, call people up, Eloy, and we get to talk about some of these prospects in the big show, Eloy. And I'm looking forward to it, Eloy. So with all that being said, that's Matt Nuka. He is an award-winning journalist. And Aldo Soto, who has a nice mustache. I'm Matt Zawoski. They call me Zoe. My beard needs some work. We appreciate you listening. We'll catch you next week, everybody. Take care.
I say,
Mike Trout to the White Sox.
You were so fast on that. I was waiting for you to lean in. I was like, you beat me.
I have no clue who this guy is. Underwhelming. How old is he? 34?
Yeah, he's 35.
Oh.
That's what I'm saying. I'm like, what are you doing?
I mean, good, okay numbers. I mean,
this is like one of those boring trades.
Yeah, I guarantee you this isn't the last trade they make.
Oh, no. Not at all.
Did they really need it, though?
No, that's the thing.
They need.
Although you can take us off live now.
They need more pitching.